Margot. Hi, honey. Now, Margot, my darling, trust me, you do not need to scream. Okay, so there's like a glare. I feel like directly on my face. On that. Alright, we're gonna have to clean that screen, aren't we? Yep. We sure are. Oh boy, I can even see it. Disgusting. Alright. Well, would you clam up already? Shh, it's okay. I'm just gonna clean your face. Boop, 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 boop. This is what it's like if I do the whole mom thing. I'm like, this doesn't have to be a mom. It could be whoever. However, I'll tell you right now, this is just a free bit of advice from your old pal Eli, aka RedWetSkeleton. Don't let strangers lick on a napkin and clean your face with it. That's disgusting. I mean, if your mom does it, that's fine. If your dad does it, that's fine. If that's what you're into, whatever. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to clean the lens. Oh my goodness. It's almost like I should have done this sooner. At one point in time, we were closing out. Man, there are so many distractions. The internet is just like nothing but a distraction. So here we go. What the fuck? Why are there like... Okay, whatever. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Okay. It's not crazy anymore. In fact, I actually think I figured it out. So, man, that kind of looks like dog shit, I feel like. But, what do I know? Yeah, I'm going to need to clean that screen, I think. So, that's YouTube. Get that down there. Oh, hey, I also realized that's probably my YouTube just doing its thing. Being like, hey, I'll make it look better for you. That doesn't look better, but thanks. Looks smoother. Hi, Margot. How are you, my princess? So, good morning, my sweets. If you are joining me on today, it is Friday, May 9th, 2025, year of our Lord. Here we go. Another day, another dollar, baby. And we got the farmhouse. Farmhouse is printed. I'm going to put one piece there, one piece here, and then pick this up so you can kind of see. This is how the farmhouse looks when it's connected to each other. I haven't glued it yet. This thing just printed out in parts. And I'm doing my best to just keep on the grind of, all right, print, move on to the next thing. So these go over here. And eventually, like as in like today, I'm going to try, and I keep saying that, but I'm going to try to get at least some kind of checklist map personally that I can look at physically on a piece of paper and check off so I can keep track of how close we are to our end goal. We're getting there though, I can say that. At this point we have printed out all of Greendale, no, it's just Greendale. We haven't printed any of Greendale, so I don't want to put that in the ether. So what have we printed at this point? I'm doing this mainly for me, but if you're following along at home, that's RPG shit. So to bring myself up to speed, Grimdale. So we finished the farmhouse, so I can move that into the printed folder. Yeah, we're well over. We're well, way over halfway. At this point, all we have left is the armory, cattle sheds. I've started on the tavern, the brewery, the inn, stables, and then the town walls. The town walls are going to be a bigger one because that's, town walls. But for everything else that we've done, also, I mean, we don't really need to print the town walls for. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'll figure out the town walls. The rest of the little buildings, though, and stuff. Those definitely, I want to print them up because I want as many individual buildings as I can for this little city. And then we will get into the really fun, crazy part. This is just printing at this point. We're eventually going to get to the stage where we do shit like that. Do all of those, as well as the trenches. I don't want anyone to think that, hey, did you forget about that? No. No, I did not. Also, that's a lot more stable than I thought it would be. That's what happens when you use wood glue on wood, I suppose. But yeah, that just handled being scraped against the side of my shelf pretty well. That's gonna look so fucking sick. I'm so stoked about how this turns out, or has turned out, for working on my concept of how that is going to look once I put the grit and everything on there. Like, this is just literally like part 1A. Like, the way that I do everything is very assembly line-esque. I like to do things, I like to stay in a certain vibe, because if I stay in that vibe, then I can hyper focus and I can knock out a lot more work on multiple things, as long as they are within that kind of conceptual, like the same kind of thing that I'm working on, which is why, one, there's two reasons why I have decided to work on multiple games at the same point, or same time. One, I'm a crazy person. Two, so I can have them done faster and more logically. Like, in order to make all the stuff for Trench Crusade, I needed large amounts of wood, so I had to process a large amount of popsicle sticks and whatnot. That same wood is used for all the stuff in 1490 Doom, including this monstrosity, which is the culmination of my work yesterday and why I did not do any of the Merc stream I had discussed. This is this was a lesson in willpower that I haven't had in a while. But yeah, this thing sucked. It was very, very time consuming, adding every single one of these little wooden shingles. However, it looks so sick now, and it looks exactly like I wanted it to. So from here, we will put some grit and texture on there. But I'll put it up here so you guys can get an idea of how sick that looks. Obviously, we're going to put some magnets in there in the wood and whatnot to make sure that it is as stable as possible, especially when turning. But I'm really happy. I'm really happy with how this guy turned out. It's ridiculous. Also, it kind of be a good little dunce cap if you need one. Just sit in the corner, sad. I wanted to play 1490, but instead I had to sit in the corner with a dunce cap on and be sad. So that's what I did yesterday. That's why I was pretty damn tired. I just pushed through getting that done until it was done. But it's done now. So at this point, all we have left are the suspension bridge and the ladders, as far as building with wood. So that is something we'll be working on today, because it will not be anywhere near soul crushing as that was. As well as I got a new foam cutter. and I have not messed with it yet, so I don't know my opinions on it, so I don't know if I could recommend it yet. But if I do like it, I'll let you guys know. Moving that little section of trench back over there. But yeah, no. So Trench Crusade, my train for Trench Crusade, all of my plans for Trench Crusade, none of them are even remotely on hold. I am planning on it being probably the game that I play more than anything else, other than my own game. You know, whenever I find the time to finish fully piecing that together. But I'm not in any rush. And honestly, if I could find a way to make Trench Crusade handle the things that I really want to do, I would have no desires to create my own. The things that I like to make the most are not so much the games. They are the things that go in the game, the concepts, the ideas. As far as making rules and concepts like that, as far as how the game works, that's not ever. Last day of work before my trip, let's get this bread, get that bread, possum, make that money, get on that grind, on that possum grind. Possum, we finished it. It sucked a lot of butt, and not in a good way, but it's done. Oh no, and it almost fell. I finished my little hat, and now I can go to the party. Yeah, it really sucked making this thing. It's so sick though. Yeah, thank you, Possum. I'm glad you like it. It was a monumental, I feel like, effort and willpower of just pushing through and being like, okay, I'm done. What made you decide to do wood shingles? So my mom's house had wood shingles, which her house was built in 1900, and I always thought that was like a really cool thing because it's the only house like in our area that I was, just like, oh shit, they've got wood shingles. So I was thinking about that, and then as opposed to using like cereal box. Yeah. As far as, man, I'm hot. It's these lights. Then I get talking. I might go. She's on the couch, hanging out with Artie. Hanging out with young Master Argyle. I went with wood as opposed to the cereal boxes because I wanted to stick with wood because I know that they used wood for a lot of shingles at the time period. Now, as far as like what else they also use clay and stuff. I did spend a little bit of time looking into, while working on this, the top of this guy, like the spire point. Hoo boy, trying to figure out if I go all the way up with the shingles, as opposed to having a shingle point, I think is the term, which is where it gets replaced with like a piece of metal, or like a cap. And I just went all the way up with shingles. One, because I could not decide on how to make the cap or what to make it look like. Two, I really like just the image of just like the wood shingle, like kind of Dr. Seuss-esque points, especially with it not being completely symmetrical. It's kind of like tilted to one side, so is the whole like tower. I really liked that kind of aspect. Just very Seussical. But in hindsight, I will say this. I don't know if I'll do it again because it really sucked. It really sucked gluing every single one of these on there. But I really wanted to make a roof that is like, yep, I tiled that whole damn thing. So now when I go and I throw grit on there, it's going to look really good because it is real wood. I don't know. I've not ever messed with the cereal box or like cardboard, like on that level, of trying to make shingles. Now I know that there's a lot of people out there that have used that kind of stuff. I'm sure. I don't know what Cody and Eric used on their board, but probably cardboard. I definitely will try that in the future because I'm sure I'll be making more roofs. I mean, shit, I know I've got a ton of... I will not be using wood for the shingles on any of the Trench Crusade board, like those buildings, because it's not the same scale. That I would need to use cereal box. This, I kind of wanted to stick with the same thickness of wood all over it. And looking at old wood shingles, I thought that it would look pretty accurate. My phone fell out of my pocket. Not that I need it. It's just more of that's a distraction. So anywho, so that's why, yeah, I went with wood. One, because I had a absolute ton of these back ends of popsicle sticks. These are the ends of all the popsicle sticks that we broke. And a lot of them look like that. They have like a curve at the tip. So like putting them in like this, we can hide that curve, and I didn't have to cut that or waste that piece of wood. So we were able to use all the wood that we had, and keep the same kind of look, kind of tone visually. In my head, it makes sense. So I'm really excited. It looks pretty sick. It took so much time and was soul crushing, but it's done. And now we get to go back to the really fun parts. Man, I just like looking at that little tower up on there. That is fun. I'm going to throw people off here. We're going to go, thump. But yeah, so that is what I did yesterday. And then, one of our little sticks broke. We'll have to glue it back, but that's okay. I'm still kind of working on the outline of these days. So today, and what I'm going to be doing, this is I don't know the brand. Oh, my things. I don't know the brand because it's written down on this piece of paper over here. And I don't remember things like that, but I can find it. Go change. Yes. No, I remember now because you have successfully finished your shift at the soul crushing factory and your payment is a 6 spire roof. Yeah. Like, I think that's it. Like, it was like, okay, man, that sucked, but it's done. And now I have this really awesome spire roof. And that's, I really wanted to just go over the top with this board. If I'm like, man, I've wanted to, like, kind of build that thing. MS Terrain on Instagram, I'm sure people follow, but I've always loved their work, and I've loved watching them build a little town, or a city of the damned, out of balsa wood and plasticard. I've greatly enjoyed watching them do that for years, and I've wanted to do it myself. However, I, for the longest time, have only had people that wanted to play 30K or something else 40K related. So like finding someone to play like in a fantasy world where like I get to like build terrain for it. That was something that like I did not have for the longest time, but now like kind of striking out on my own, doing the kind of hobbies, the kind of projects that I want to do, the kind that I want to play, and the kind that I want to show. I have a lot more free reign, which I guess I already had free reign. It's more of a self-realization of I can do what I want. But this little foam cutter that I picked up, I do have a Proxon. That would have been great for cutting these when they were on the, not on the tower. Time reasoning, I did not allow myself that. So here we are. I picked up this little foam cutter pin. So I'm going to check this guy out today. But it came with 3 different attachments. One is like your standard foam cutter. So you can be like, psst. That sounded terrible. Glad it didn't break. And then the other 2 are these little like prongs, which should be good. So I can just be like, burning the stones. And the reason that I'm doing that is because, yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty fun. Hopefully it works well. Hopefully it doesn't catch on fire or melt any of this. But the reason I'm doing that is because these stones, I did not go in depth as I would have liked to as far as cutting the shapes. It's just, I need to go back and like kind of fix just a few small things on the foam before I finish building the wood things, and then we are into grit. But with that said, I do think very confidently we will be painting this thing next week. And as soon as I get as soon as I get the bridge and the ladders built, we can actually run some games on this thing before it's finished being painted, which was the whole reason that I did certain things. But then I was a crazy person and I built this. That was not quick at all. That was actually really not quick. But hey, it was fun and it was a learning experience. And now I go out in my garage and I look up and I see something almost, just like that. And I'm like, hey, I did that one time, but a lot smaller. Kind of like a real grown-up roof guy, but in my basement. But yeah, so other than those things that I did yesterday, let's see, what other progress did I have? I really was trying to knock out a bunch of physical progress. And again, speaking on, hey, here's things to just keep in mind while you're doing this kind of stuff. Yesterday I'm going to drink some water. Yesterday I had a conversation with Kelly. You learned that you didn't want to do it again. I learned that I didn't want to do it again. I mean, maybe a smaller one. Or maybe just not as small shingles. It wasn't horrible. It was a lot of just like, you just gotta zonk out. But I'll tell you one thing, I enjoyed doing that more than I've enjoyed doing most things at my regular day job for the past couple of years. So I would way rather make little shingled roofs every day. It wasn't too bad. It was a lot. But I got that done, and so now after getting that done, so that was like a big physical, like, hey, we got to push this work. A lot of the work is also mental though, like planning and prepping. So yesterday I had a kind of like, hey, I'm gonna give myself a little pep talk and like look at what I've actually got done for like a month and 8 days, and I felt really good about that. I forgot to do that for my partner. The weird thing is when you like have a stream where you kind of go over what you're going to do that day and like how that affects like the overall plan, I forget to tell my wife these things because I've already told you guys these things, and I don't want to just say the same thing over again because I'm like all constantly afraid that like I'm just telling people the same shit that I've already told them, and I'm like, oh man, I'm just on a loop, and they don't care. So yeah, that's a thing. But I did not read through any more of Farewell to Arms, which I really needed to, but I will today. I'm really stoked about it. I did print a bunch of stuff for Merkborg, and I did do a lot of thinking about that. And then today, I think I'm also going to work on physical stuff. I'm going to work on this bridge, and I'm going to work on, on the foam and the bridge. Those are the things I need to work on today. And then I'm going to be trying to put my concepts and my thoughts onto paper as far as what all I'm doing, so I can just make sure that I'm working on the things that I need to work on currently at the same time, if they should be worked on at the same time, or not if they aren't. Also, just kind of like a general, hey, time to reassess. I need to write down, these are the games that I'm working on, these are the games I'm planning on playing, these are the games that I'm planning on running on the channel, that kind of stuff. Just a kind of centering. I need to do that, and just see where I am, to see what I need to do to accomplish that in a way. I don't want to half-ass. That's like a big, I guess not even a big, that's the big. I don't like showing up for a game without any prep. I can absolutely run games without any kind of prep. However, that is with like other players. Like solo play, I realize that like me trying to do Farewell to Arms, like, and opening it and like doing it then, that's a disservice to you, because if you're sitting down to like work through it with me, that's one thing. But like, oh hey, we're gonna play this, I don't want you all to think like, oh yeah, you're just gonna tune in and watch me figure out how to play a game. Because while I can run the game for other people, learning how to play it with just myself while you guys watch it and it still be entertaining, those are two different things. And I want to make sure that I am doing that in a way that how I would want to. And by that specifically, I mean, I don't want to half-ass 2 games. I would rather full-ass 1 game, and then when I'm confident that I can full-ass that game, then we'll add the second one. That's where I am with, I think, Farewell to Arms Redux and Merkborg. As soon as I think that I've got Farewell to Arms down to where we could add another game, then I will do that. But I don't want to, oh, we're going to kind of struggle through this game, and then like 2 days later, like, oh, we're going to kind of struggle through this one too. I definitely want to keep it at a level of quality that like I'm happy with. And on those notes, this weekend, that's another big thing, is trying to get the studio portion of the basement finished, whereas the shop, it's set up. It's not set up how it will be in the long run. I still got to get the spray booth, get these cabinets moved, things rotated, but getting those done this weekend and getting the studio area kind of set up. Hey, Marco, those will be good. I'm also working on aesthetic, like for the little area that I'm trying to present. I'm trying to figure out how to do it because our walls down here are concrete. Like we have concrete wall in our basement. So in order to like frame things like pictures and whatnot on the wall, I would need to like do like a little wall, or I could run some like wood and make a fake little thing, or put it up on a table with a holder. Yesterday, it was either yesterday or Wednesday. It was Wednesday. Wednesday I picked up my print from Martin, and I'll post a picture of it in the I haven't taken a good picture of it yet because I don't have anything of it like hanging up. I thought I would pick her up and hold her. She doesn't want to. I pledge for you to do in order to last war and Baron's War from Morgan's Atlantic. Hell yeah, Baron's War. What is Baron's War? I don't know Baron's War. Last War though. I need to look and see what all is in the Last War that is on, like, that can be purchased right now, because Edison bulbs, the fake brick siding, and weird bottles. Edison bulbs, the fake brick siding. I don't know if that sounds awesome. Also, I'll be right back. Edison bulbs? You mean like these? We've had this bulb in our, that's not an Edison bulb, I don't think. Similar kind of vibe, but it's not the same as I think this one is. But I don't think technically this is actually an Edison bulb. I think it's like a retro, it's supposed to look like it. But this was our dining room light fixture, light bulb. I took it down. I'll show you. This is not related to that. Yeah, they're aesthetic as fuck. So, and I want your all's opinions on this. I really do. The aesthetics, especially like with the studio, that's like, I have like my vibe that I'm trying to put out. But if you're like, oh man, you guys should do blank this, that's just what they call the bulbs, where you can see the elements light up inside it. Gotcha. Edison bulbs. Yeah, I love those. When we first bought our house, we went to IKEA. I mean, it's been like 10 years now, almost. No, not 10 years. When did we buy this house? And that's not important. Anywho, so we went to IKEA, and I purchased, and I fuck it, I'm going to show you, because I'm still like, man, he was on some other level shit. I don't know, man. I'll never figure it out. But this is the, so I'll do both of them. So this was the light fixture that we had in our hallway. So it had the smaller one, and this is the light fixture that we had in the dining room that had the bigger one in there. What I wanted to show you is this crazy piece of shit. I don't know. So this is absolutely one of those like kind of situations where it's like I did this and I have no idea how, but so this is the shit that I was on when like Kelly and I like first like bought this house. Like I was a absolute goblin, just a fucking goblin, or not a goblin, like a Big Mac. I was just a Big Mac. I am a Big Mac. MEK, not MECH. So this is a fixture that I got from IKEA that is supposed to just like it's like a corded lamp. Like it's not supposed to be your chandelier. So I cut it, and I don't know how. I don't know where I got these pieces from. I don't understand so much, but I figured out a way to feed this thing into this metal pole from my ceiling. And when I went in to replace it, like we recently replaced our lights, Skylar was just like, yeah, it's just not very bright, because that's the thing. They're really atmospheric and they're really cool looking. The most bullshit light for the room. And that is like one of my biggest pet peeves is like when I need to see something, but I can't because the lights in the room are they're just shit. They're just made to like, well, I can see, it's not dark, but I can't see anything. Like, get the flashlight. Anywho, so the reason I kept these is because they are going to be used for our Trench Crusade board, or for another board for what I was working on. But the very geometrical kind of shapes are just begging for me to make them into like weird hell cubes. Dude, anything low Kelvin gives off dog shit. Like that's it. I really do. So here's where you get to watch me try to shove this back in here. Come on. All right, so the whole reason I did that was just to show those lights. But Kelly recommended, there's a big old thing of Margot here maybe? Very light falling from the sky. Yeah, so the light bulbs. Thought they could be a good vibe over there. However, I know one of the main vibes is going to be a bunch of candles that I have that are black, and when you light them, the actual candle that melts is red. And I'm working on that skull, so I'll go get it too. So I'm trying to make this corner in a very, I want it to have a study, yeah, like your dad's study kind of vibe to it. Very old wood, like dark leather. But I want it to be just riddled with like metal ass occult shit. Like if your dad was really rad, like he's like, yeah, no, man, my dad, he's pretty cool. He goes down there sometimes, hang out, reads these books, and also like, typically it's read by the light of 3 blood candles. I think my dad might be into some occult shit, like that kind of a thing. That's the kind of vibe I'm trying to put off. Except I don't have any like kids except for my furry kids, and they already know I'm into occult shit. So this is a skull. This is like one of the first, like, the concept of King Piss, which that is a deity that I have come up with that is essentially the modern day Dionysus. This was like the first like thing I made for it, and the idea was I began working on an album while, like, during COVID. I started working on an album under the name King Piss. And you can find one of the songs on Apple Music, YouTube, that kind of stuff. It's called This Is a Respectable Business. And that was the first track off of a 5-song EP called Margot Suspiciously Inconspicuous Antique Shop. And I'm still going to make that at some point, but that concept is very much something. Margot's Suspiciously Inconspicuous Antique Shop is something that I'm going to make into like a merchant for like, hey, slap this merchant into your game. Because that is a concept that I've been in love with for so long. Is just, I love, and I don't mean this derogatory or in any way negative. I'm just, it's the reference of the trope, but the Mogwai shop. I fucking love Mogwai shops. Like a little sketchy antique shop in Chinatown or some other, like, it just, there's a very specific kind of like, yep, that's a Mogwai shop. When you go in, you're like, okay, what you got? Where your Mogwai's at? And the whole thing was, the idea, the concept was, it was the first track was, This Is a Respectable Business. The second track was, We Do Not Sell Mogwai Here. The third track was, You Break It, You Buy It, and the item next to it. And then the fourth track, actually it was just four tracks. It was, all right, you want to buy a Mogwai or what? So it's just Margot, her suspiciously inconspicuous. It's like so normal that you're like, okay, that's suspicious as fuck. This is a sketchy part of town. Why is Margot's antique shop look so not sketchy and safe? Why does it look like I'd be okay if I went in there? That kind of a vibe. So that is a long rant. Where that comes in, this is a skull that I purchased an anatomical skull, and then I filed down the teeth and I sculpted horns on it. And this is going to be revisited before I do anything and like make the studio actually like up and running. I don't know where these keys go to. What keys are these? I like keys a lot. And I don't know where these go. But we'll put them back on there. So, anywho, King Piss. I need to get with my boy Clay, who took Latin. I guess that's the thing. So I will say, this is one thing that I have learned. You know, I'm not going to dunk on anyone's beliefs, but I normally would be very opposed to be like, yeah, send your kids to Christian school. Except the fact that some of them apparently learn how to fucking read Latin. Where the fuck is that in, like, public schools? Can we talk about that for a minute? If you were like, hey, Eli, you have to take a foreign language, which is that, I don't want to get into that. But that is an insane kind of concept for America to do. At least where we live, because it's just like, what the fuck are these kids going to use French for? Eric, did you look at Wars War? I'm sorry, dudes. I don't mean to just talk. Or rant. But, yeah, so the whole thing with that, I lost my train of thought. It had to do with King Piss. It had to do with a god that essentially is Dionysus. The god of partying and music and getting rowdy. But a modern day version to where it's just so over the top. I'm sorry. No, you keep talking about Latin. I needed to find a way how to say King Piss in a very not just King Piss way. And Latin. I know that there is a way to do that. Nah, you just keep talking about Latin. So yeah, I really want to figure out a way. I need to redo these horns. And I'm probably going to redo them with the cholla wood to keep them tied in more with the child inverted, those demons. that kind of concept. Okay, sorry. I know you keep talking about Latin. I didn't mean to. Didn't mean to interrupt. So, yeah, I got really derailed, and I started doing a whole bunch of other stuff, and I never got around to finishing this skull that I worked on. So initially, this was going to be painted, like bone. It was all going to be really bone colored, and then the hands. So that's the thing. Piss, like Rex, I know is king. Piss is is hard because I don't think it's a word in Latin. I don't think they had piss as a word in Latin, but I don't know. Do we know Latin for piss from the alchemists? Now, alchemist actually, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So the idea was going to be the art of the EP was going to be a pair of hands holding the skull while gold poured out of the eye holes, like gold paint, like out of the eye holes and like all over the hands. They have an alchemical symbol for urine. Oh, well, then, then there we go. There we go. Yeah, we can make that work. Which that is the whole thing. And that's, I can't stress enough, the King Piss is not and a lot of my friends have misunderstood that, like, oh yeah, just have like, the opening track, just a really loud, someone just taking a rad piss. And I'm just like, it's not pee, like not pee piss, like King Piss. It's like the shit. He is the piss. He's King fucking Piss. Like, it's such an absurd name that no one would pick that unless they're like, yeah, I'm King fucking Piss. You don't pick King Piss as your name unless the confidence is so far off the charts that it's just like, that's ridiculous. And that's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be like the name that you would pick if you really thought you were the fucking end all be all and everything else was just a joke. You're just like, well, I'm King fucking Piss. So that's the concept. And King Piss, the skull was either going to be bone or it was going to be gold. And then the eyes were going to be leaking black or gold, depending on. But now that I'm thinking it, I'm pretty sure it was gold and it was bleeding black into hands. They were going to be Kelly's hands. And that was the photo that I was going to use for the EP art of my little EP that I was working on, and then I got distracted and I never made anything else for it. I made a whole lot of stuff conceptually with the other stuff, but that's where this is. It's going to be over there on the table. I am going to be adding a candle prong. I have 3. The idea is to be able to put 3 taper candles, so they are mounted on here, all at different heights. And when they are lit, I bought around Halloween. They're black bleeding tapers, so they are black, but they bleed red wax. So it's just going to be 3 black candles over time, bleeding red wax onto this thing, and eventually it will just keep it in place on that table. But that is, I like that. That's fun. Little squares. And then I also love trench coats, trench cats, baby. This was one of the things that I got really excited about when I didn't even have a choice. I saw this and I was like, well, there we go, ragdoll. Monsters ignore ragdoll cats thinking they are dead. Can pick up and carry 1 item. You hear that, Margot? They think you're dead. Stupid sons of bitches. Wait till they find out she's a vampire. That's the P symbol? So it's just like a little square with like a little dot in the middle? That's fucking rad. That's pretty cool. That and then just like Rex after it. Or that and then just like a crown symbol, like on the cover. That'd be rad. P. Code in on the drinks. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. And then I've got all the clocks and stuff that I recently harvested, that I've been, I'm probably going to use some of the awful creepy stuff that I've got in these cabinets to make some decor to go over there. But yeah, it's the goal is to have practical, functional workshop area where I can show you guys this is how I make things, and then a very presentable place where I can say, hey, you guys want to have a little adventure or maybe talk about some spooky stuff? That kind of vibe. That's my goal. That's my plan. So, and that is what I'm working on this weekend. I think I've got a shit ton of physical work done on Trench Crusade, 1490 Doom. Now it is just a matter of piecing together how I want all the things to work as far as the channel and how I want to do things. So yeah, I'm feeling good. That was the whole rant was I went over this discussing my plans and where I was on plans yesterday with you guys and with myself, but I did not do that with my partner. So that was my rant today was to just make sure that when you're doing things that everyone that needs to be involved in what you're doing is aware of what you're doing. So that was another reason that I was kind of, hey, just to further, this is what I'm working on today. And this is what I'm planning on doing. So with that said, I printed out this stuff for Sick-a-Switch. I bought the Sick-a-Switch PDF. It is a intro to Merkborg adventure that takes place before the Beneath adventure. So I really like the idea of running those. I don't know how well they will run solo. So I might end up doing that one with like Kelly, or just like Kelly and myself, or Kelly in a group, or I might end up start doing group ones. But I really want to do Sick-a-Switch because anytime you're like, yeah, it's a lot of your powers are going to be based off of harvesting limbs and stuff. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm in. That sounds great. You had me at harvesting. The time for cultivating mass is over. It is time to harvest, as they say. That is where I've been with like a lot of this stuff recently. I feel like I've just been like, okay, I have to cultivate, and it's just like now it's time to harvest, and that's kind of like where we are. I think at this point it's just a matter of refining the lens. We need to like, okay, we've got a whole bunch of stuff in the works, and now we just need to zoom in a little bit and see what needs to be finished so we can continue going from there. Because I really don't want to just be like, hey everybody, I'm working on stuff for forever, but you're never going to get to see any actual gameplay. And also I don't want it to be like I'm working on stuff but I'm not showing you. I'm really trying to get all the stuff that like you don't want to watch, like me putting 1,000,000 fucking shingles on this roof. You didn't want to watch that. I didn't want to do it. But yeah, that's that. I'm thinking I've kind of covered, I've yapped. I've covered just about everything that I really wanted to, so I might cut it out early a little bit here. Because I can't think of anything off the top of my head that I really need to add. I'm going to work on the foam today. I'm going to try to get to the bridge. The bridge is more important than the foam. I need to do the bridge first and then the foam. So I will do the bridge first today, as well as the ladders. Those will be quick, and then we'll be able to play on that this weekend. So that is better planning right there. Yeah, okay. How about you, Mr. Eli? Any interest in Quar's War? I have not looked into Quar's War, and Baron's War. Also, I saw Eric mention that, and I've not seen that. Last War, I'm all about that. I've not made any models for Last War. I made sorry, there's a hair floating. I made like a squad of dudes for Last War, because that is absolutely, I mean, that's what this, to be real, like that's what this board's for. Underneath here, I've got 2 of these 2x2 boards that I made for Forbidden Psalm, and one of them is cobblestone, and then this one was going to be dirt, and it was going to be specifically the one that I used for like Last War. just because those, they having a 2x2, like, I just love 2x2. Like, the smaller your board is, the more I'm like apt to play your game, just because, again, this takes way less time and effort and space. And for the space that it takes to store like one 4x4 board, I can store 4 2x2s. Like, that's 4 games versus 1 if you think about it like that. And if you figure games that use similar terrain, then you really start to game the system. That's what I'm trying to do anyway. I'm trying to game the system of like having all this shit. Having too much shit, I'm gaming the system. I realize how goofy that sounds. But be that as it may, no, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really good about the shop. I'm feeling really good about the plans. I will look into Quar's Ward. I'll look into Quar's Ward real good. I'll look into Quar. I'll look into Quar's World. I'll look into Gwar. I'll look a little bit into Gwar. The Gwar War. Yeah, no, I'll look into the Quar's War, and I'll look into the other one, the Baron's War. They sound like my kind of jam. And again, any game like that, you're like, hey, you don't have to make many things. You just need a few things, and you can play it on blank table that you already have. I'm in. Like, I can't wait to have a couple of boards and stuff to play on. It's like Interway and Ears. Oh. Well, yeah, that sounds great. I love anteaters. It's cute. Well, I love that. Okay. Baron's Wars, medieval foot soldiers and knights at a skirmish level Quar are like anthropomorphic anteaters. Oh, yeah, no, I'm in. Okay, yeah, no, that's all I needed for both of those. That sounds great. Baron's Wars, medieval foot soldiers and knights at a skirmish level Quar are like anthropomorphic. Man, I tell you what. You put anthropomorphic characters, animals in your game, I'll probably like it. If I'm being real. I like them. They're good. I don't identify as a furry, but I like anthropomorphic characters. On that note, I think it is time for coffee, my sweets. But thank you all. I will look into both of those. They sound amazing. Also, isn't Baron's Ward getting a fantasy supplement? Kind of. So, okay, yeah, I assumed when you said that it was anthropomorphic anteaters, the first thing that comes to mind is Jim Henson. The moment, honestly, that anyone is just like, it's silly or fun and fantasy, the first thing that comes to mind is Jim Henson. There are two vibes that I have, and it's essentially Jim Henson Forest and RedWetSkeleton Forest. There's just one thing that I like is really, really silly, and I'm like, man, we're going to have a great adventure, and it's a little scary because, like, things are different, but if we just believe in ourselves, we'll have fun, and we're going to have a fun life adventure here. And then the other one is just like, and then you die. Those are the two kinds of stories that, like, I like to tell. So, yeah, with that, I'm going to try to get more stuff down on paper and more stuff, like, written out so I can actually explain what I'm talking about half the time. I'm just trying to make a lot of progress today. But thank you guys, as always. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and keeping me company. I'm going to go make coffee. I will catch you all later. I will probably be in the Discord today. I have to hang out not in there sometimes so I can, like, push through shit like this. But, hey, this is done, so now I can chat. Yeah, thank you guys so much. I will update my wife. Thank you all, and have a good day. Sit pretty. Take care.